Complaining. Believe it or not, there are some really positive outcomes that come from complaining. One of the obvious ones is that it really is an effective way to get out in the open what the problem is. If you have a dancing partner and you're dancing cheek to cheek, and your dancing partner consistently steps on your toes, the best thing to tell that dancing partner is, "You're stepping on my toes. Back up." It's also, complaining, a wonderful way to create a more adult relationship. Rather than silently bearing slight after slight, insult after insult, if you have the courage to speak up and say, "Ouch! What you said or what you did hurts," your complaint gives the one hurting you an opportunity to see you as you would really like to be seen, and not perhaps as the sponge they have imagined you to be. A stronger, more honest relationship has the chance to be born when there is honest, respectful dialogue, when there is some complaining. Another positive outcome of complaining is that it sometimes bonds and creates new communities. Any of you in here ever ridden the bus? The bus ever been late? You may go to that bus every day and every week, and the same people may gather at that bus stop with you, and you may not say one thing to them. But if that bus is late, and you have to be someplace on time, like you have to work for Mickey and be in her high-tech job to get those bagels and cream cheese on her desk in order to get ready. And you're standing there, you might find yourself turning to the person next to you, "Where's the bus? This is the worst bus system. This city's got the worst bus. Oh, this is not right." And then the two of you are chatting away, and then the bus comes and the bus rolls up, and the bus driver is texting. And so then the two of you roll your eyes and, "Oh, wait, that's why the bus is late, because he's texting instead of driving." And then the people get under the neck, "I know the bus is late." And all of a sudden you've created this community of people all around the fact that the bus was late. And you get off the bus late for your job, maybe a little late, but feeling like, "Oh my God, I kind of had a good time. We were all grousing about the same thing. We've got something in common." You might go into work with a little lilt in your step. You might have created a new community there. I'm sure you can come up with numerous other reasons for getting situations out in the open, by grumbling, carping, finding fault, by complaining. There are lots of good reasons to do that. Complaining can result in more honest dialogue, lack of ulcers, no more feeling hurt, having a say, being heard, on and on and on. But complaining does damaging work when you complain out of a sense of helplessness, and refusing to arbitrate or work together toward any solution, choose to remain in your victimized state. Many times, adult people feel more powerful and aggressive when they feel they have been made to be the victim. In the scripture that Mickey read to us, Jesus had just told the disciples, told the huge crowds that followed him, that even though they were not allowed in the temples and synagogues because they were not ritually clean, that God loved them. God loved them not because they'd done something. God loved them, and we've been talking about this for 3 weeks. God loved them just the way they were. They were fine. Then Jesus sealed the deal by feeding all 5,000 of them at the same time. And they were so attracted to him. You remember we talked about this last week. They wanted to make him what? You remember?
King.
They wanted to make him king. And it got so boisterous that he had to get away, and he got in a boat and he went to Capernaum, and they went in boats to find him because this man had said, "We were great just the way you are, and he fed us, and we need to hang on to him." So they went to Capernaum and they found him. But when he said, "I am more than just a prophet. I did not come here to be your earthly king. I and the heavenly creator are one," I am God come down to earth. I am the living bread, which we will deal with next week. And then the really big one. I am the light of the world. Those 5,000 people who had followed him, been blessed by him, and been fed by him, began to whine and complain in their helplessness, their victimization. They thought they had been taken. They forgot all about the welcome. You are welcome here. They forgot they had sung that. All the miracles, all the food, and they started to whine, and their whining turned to anger. This community felt victimized, and they felt hurt. And they were using their hurt to try to hurt Jesus, trying to bring Jesus down to size. So this crowd had no problem calling out Jesus' family. In the text that Nikki read to us today, and what they implied in their complaint was that Joseph and Mary were nobody special. We know who you are. We knew them. They are poor people right here from this village just like us, living hand to mouth. So where do you get off Jesus saying that you are the bread of life? Please. No matter what your accomplishments are, we knew your mother. She was nobody special. Sometimes, no matter what your accomplishments are, people need to complain about you and bring you down to size. It is because they are being hurt and threatened and made uncomfortable by who you are. Annette and I were here in the office, and she told me a wonderful story about something she had read about President Carter. You all remember President Carter, right? He was the 39th president of the United States. President Carter attends a church in Georgia, the place of his birth. Plains, Georgia is where he's from. And he attends a church called the Maranatha Baptist Church. Maranatha is Aramaic for Jesus come. Their congregation is smaller than ours. On a good Sunday, they may have 30 people. You can go to their website and check them out. The entire congregation's picture is on their website page. But President Carter teaches a Bible study about 3 or 4 Sundays a month. The schedule for when he teaches that Bible study is on the front page of their website. And when he teaches, about 600 or 700 people show up for that Bible study for this congregation of 31 people. It got to be so big and so crowded and so uncomfortable that the church had to make a deal to build a wing, not to beautify the sanctuary. They had to make a place large enough to teach the Bible study. Can you imagine how much complaining went on there? Carter, you're not even the president, you're not even the pastor of and you were only a one-term president at that. You're from here in Plains, Georgia, and we knew your mother and your father. They were peanut farmers. It took a whole lot of cajoling and conditioning and moving things around to get that congregation to understand what a godsend this light of the world was. But they did it. And now, as President Carter enters his 90th year, not as the sitting president of the United States, but as a Bible teacher who has a world-class reputation, his congregation of 31 people has done the work to move past the complaining and understand that he is a godsend to this congregation. Long may he be there to teach and draw people from all over the world to this place. Do any of you know a young man by the name of Jacob Sokol? He has a following on Twitter. He is a young New Yorker with a huge following of young people and not so young people, and from time to time hosts seminars called WTF Am I Doing With My Life? Now, from my understanding, WTF must stand for Wonderful Thought Formation.
Yeah.
So-called teaches a lot about staying in a state of flow and gratitude no matter what happens. And that is what we are called to do. One of the most important points he makes is that in this ever diverse community in which we live, we should spend some time practicing from a place of gratitude how we hear complaints and practicing how we complain. So-called writes that we should do the positive work on our own selves, always being grateful for life, always being grateful for every day of life, nurturing a feeling of gratefulness and love, always flowing between us, that even when sometimes somebody comes to us or complaining, we have to remember that we are a child of God and they are a child of God. So God is concerned about that which concerns us or them, even if one of us is not acting particularly God-like. We can hold ourselves in gratefulness to God to receive complaints and to respond to complaints and hold ourselves in a state of grace as we make complaints. I want to end this time with you by telling a story to you that is not oppressive to me, but is precious to me, and I want you to hear it from a precious state. When I came to pastor this church 4.5 years ago, there was a deacon here that some of you may remember. His name was Steve Rowe. You all remember Steve? Lovely man, funny man, full of life. And on my first or second week here, I was shaking hands and selling used cars at the door like I always do. And he said, "Can I speak to you for a few minutes?" And I said, "Sure." And this is what he said to me. "I don't like black people, and I don't like gay people. But you are my pastor, and I want to respect you." I said to him, "Thank you for giving me a way to begin this conversation with you." He and I sat down and pulled out about the 7 texts in the Bible that have to do with homosexuality. And about the time we got to the 3rd or 4th one, we were both laughing hysterically, with tears running out of our eyes. He became one of my favorite people to look for when I came through that door. I could not call him to ask him to do anything that he would not do. He helped me move furniture, carry things. He painted half of a social hall by himself, and Judy he had on headphones and he was singing with the, it's not anything you want to hear. He was a person of grace, and we were able to work through issues not because I had presented the situation in such a way. He had come to me with so much respect and honesty and given me a place of honor even as he laid out his heart. Some people would say, well, I was well within my rights to walk away from him and call political correctness and say, blah, 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 you don't have a right to talk to me like that. But he was so respectful in his honesty that he paved the way for us to have a closer relationship. You and I are always in relationship with all of the rest of God's creation. And we may not like everything that somebody else does. But as we respect them, even as we disagree with them, we make a way for dialogue to stay open and a way for God to be present